it doesn't have to be elaborate. You just have to be strategic, and you can get a really yummy, healthy, tasty meal on the table every night.
Welcome to the Sharing Passion and Purpose podcast, a weekly podcast providing career and creative inspiration to help you build a purpose-filled life. If you're interested in tapping into your creative potential and building on your biggest and best resource, yourself, please join me on this path. I'm your host, Nancy Moore, and I want you to know that I'm on this journey with you. So let's get started. Hi, everybody. So I want to do a little pulse check. How many of you truly enjoy making meals for your family? I will admit that I do not, but I do it because of the end result. I enjoy feeding my family nutritious meals, and then I enjoy sitting around the dinner table and having that dinner time conversation where we can check in and talk about our day and just have it be a family time. And I will tell you that if you are like me and you struggle with dinner time and meal prep night after night, and here it's just the beginning of the summer, so we're going to be doing a lot of that coming up during probably the summer months, more so if the kids are home. But what if I told you you could simplify meal planning and prep and even lower your grocery bill? Well, Cyndi Kane is somebody who has come up with a unique concept called Save It Forward Suppers. And she has put this information in a cookbook, and she is going to talk about this concept during the interview. So I want you to hear that. But it is 15 weeks of suppers that are already planned. Her Save It Forward concept makes it easier in planning and preparing all of these meals. She will also admit that she doesn't love to cook, but as a mom of 4 kids, of course, she did it out of necessity as well. And as you will learn, she has a famous friend who also loves to cook. And that friend is Ree Drummond, and they both live in Pawhuska. And so I asked her also a little about Ree. So it was kind of fun to hear her perspective and some things that they had done in the past together. And so Cyndi was just an absolute joy to visit with and learn from. I have her cookbook. I have been utilizing it, and I can tell you I love it. It's worth the cost. It will save you time and money by getting the cookbook. So listen to this visit. Cyndi will explain the concept behind her cookbook and even how she had the time to write the cookbook. And you'll hear a little bit more about Cyndi. So hope you enjoy our visit. Cyndi Kane.
Nancy, here we are.
Here we are. I have been so excited to visit with you since I saw that you came out with this amazing cookbook.
Thank you. I've been excited to be here.
Good. I just shared off the recording with Cyndi that she has come from Good Morning America to Tulsa, Oklahoma to my living room. So
I'm on an upward trajectory.
Oh, I knew I loved you. I appreciate it. But anyway, she has a new cookbook that's called Save It Forward Suppers. And it is such a great concept, such a great idea, because I have tried to do this, in the past.
Right.
But leftovers are just not that great,
Right.
And it becomes a whole new thing with the concept that you have incorporated in this book.
Right.
So I wanted to ask you about how you came up with the idea for this cookbook.
Right. Well, so just so your viewers, they may not, I'm sure they probably don't know about my cookbook. So I'll just kind of encapsulate what it's about.
That'd be great.
So you hit on it. It's basically, instead of serving warmed up leftovers, it's a way to either reimagine your leftovers into something entirely new. For example, this is kind of it's entirely new in a way. So we just got finished with Easter. Of course, who knows when people are going to be listening. But anyway, so we had ham and scalloped potatoes. So you take the scalloped potatoes, you know, a lot of times you're left with a big amount of scalloped potatoes. And so in the book, there's a recipe to turn that into scalloped potato soup. So basically a potato soup. So my daughter just actually did it last night. She's like, Mom, this is so good. And I hadn't done this when the kids were growing up. You know, some of it is when the kids were growing up, but some of it I just had to come up with just to write the book. So anyway, that's one way you can reimagine leftovers by making it one thing into something else. Or a second way that the book tackles the problem of getting a meal on the table every night is just that you have components that you might make more of for one meal, and then you extract the component and you make it into a second meal. So you're always kind of rolling things forward, saving forward things. So that's sort of the gist of it. So what was your original question? Sort of, I hijacked the whole question.
Well, no, I think it's just, the process for writing the book. And it's just interesting that you just now said that you did some of these recipes later because your kids are older.
Right. I have my kids range in age to 31 down to 17. So I still have one at home. He's a senior. So I kind of am putting out of my nest this spring my senior. I'm launching him into the world and launch the cookbook into the world. So anyway, I still have a teenage boy to cook for. But I homeschool my kids. So I had 3 out of the 4 of them. So for 20 years now, you know, they kind of want to eat 3 times a day, and that gets to be a grind. It's not that I just absolutely love cooking, but
ask you that.
Right, in my book, in the introduction, I tell about how, you know, my daughter at some point asked me, Mom, do you just love to cook? And I was like, actually, not really, you know, but when you're a young mother, I just had in my head that, and I grew up this way, where you had family dinner, and I really think that's where families are forged, is around the dinner table. You know, I mean, there's a reason why salesmen take people out for business meals. You know, it's just a time of relaxation and enjoyment and connectivity, and it's conducive to transmitting ideas, which is what parents want to do with their kids, is they want to, you know, form them as young adults. And so the best way to do that is around the dinner table. So I just knew that as a young mother, I was really committed to family dinner. And then I started homeschooling my kids, and it became family breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I think just out of desperation, you know, it's just a grind to get a meal on the table from the ground up every night. And Pinterest and Instagram don't help, because you look at these lovely meals and you think, oh, well, I've got Kraft mac and cheese that I'm feeding my kids. So, you know, it doesn't have to be elaborate. You just have to be strategic, and you can get a really yummy, healthy, tasty meal on the table every night without crying and stress. And so I've kind of done all the legwork for you. Yeah. And you're doing it.
Yes.
Let's not just talk about me. You've started to dip your toe in the water a little bit.
I have. I shared with Cyndi that I did not know about Laughing Cow cheese until the cookbook. And there is an excellent recipe that's also a standalone recipe for spaghetti squash.
Right.
And with that cheese in it.
Right.
And it is delightful.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah. that's one of the weeks. I can't remember the number of it, but they're 15 weeks.
Okay.
And they're numbered, and everything within that week has sort of its own, you know, everything saves forward. It makes your grocery shopping easier. It makes everything kind of make sense. you're not wasting a lot of food and components. You're not buying weird things that you're only going to use one time. You know, you're kind of, I tried to be strategic budget wise on that. And so that's a week where it starts out where it's called Sunday gravy, which is kind of an Italian dish that Italians eat on Sunday, and it kind of cooks on the stove. It's kind of a marinara with meat.
I started
and stuff.
out with that.
Oh, you did? Did you make it?
A little, because isn't it with all of the stuff that you
different
have?
kinds of meats?
Yes,
Yeah.
so I just had a couple of different meats in it.
Yeah.
Yes. But
So anyway, it starts with that meal. And then the second meal that week is a lentil soup.
yes, and I did the lentil soup.
You did? Oh, I love it so much. And because and then it ends up where you take the meat from the Sunday gravy and you make a shepherd's pie. But that's okay. That's okay. But so what happens is sometimes people eat all their meat and they don't have enough left for the shepherd's pie. But the lentils, when you make the lentil soup, you can extract the lentils and add that into your meat mixture. And people don't know that it just kind of bulks it up a little bit. So anyway, the lentil soup goes along with the spaghetti squash. And I make kind of a little base of spaghetti squash in my bowl and put my lentil soup over it. I'm always trying to work in vegetables into my diet.
You're hitting all the points. You're hitting cost-effective vegetables, cut down on time at the grocery store, planning. Yeah, this is all
I mean, in our day, grocery bills are alarming.
They are.
I mean, yes. I just am hurt for people, it's hard. And so my mother was a child in the Depression, and her mother lost her husband. So my mom's dad died, and so my grandmother was left with 4 kids to feed during the Depression, and she became very resourceful. And my mother grew up with a mother cooking like this, and it kind of just was in my DNA to think about this, to be budget minded. And so if there are any expensive elements at one part of the week, then I'd sort of, figure out how to make less expensive ingredients the rest of the week. And no, it was all really, and just the lack of waste. I mean, as Americans, we just tend to waste a lot of food, and so I think it addresses that too. I mean, I would say the book pays for itself easily in 1 week, just food budget wise.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right.
And food budget wise, but then time.
Right.
Thinking about the time too that you save, because a lot of it is the thought process.
Oh.
And I have friends like you hit on this too, who will troll Pinterest and try to figure out, but that's always a point of it's a pain point. I feel like for so many is just figuring out dinner.
Right. And that's just a standalone meal, and you have to do that for 5 meals.
Good point, Cyndi.
I mean, really, it's painful. And for someone like you that has a child in baseball, and, a lot of the things you can't, it's so tempting to just eat at a fast food place or restaurant every night just because I've grown up with kids in sports and all that. I mean, they're starving, and they finish practice, and if you're not at the top of your game, you're going to end up in a drive-through lane every night just out in just self-preservation. And we all know it's hard. I mean, growing kids, they're not going to gain weight and all that. But, you get to a certain age and like I can't eat at a drive-thru. I wish I could, but, well, not really. I mean, but, you can't really maintain a healthy weight if you're just always at a restaurant. So, and kids aren't getting enough vegetables. Nobody's getting enough vegetables. So I really try to kind of work that in a way that's really, painless.
Yeah, you're right though about being around the dinner table and having that family time and conversation, over some good food, and making it easy makes you also happy to be there, and takes the pressure off. And
and just, I think we mothers, like, we want to be associated with comfort and nourishment, and I think that feeds our soul to do that. And so just that your kids have happy memories of mom feeding them. I mean, that's about as good as it gets, really.
Yeah, I agree. I love that.
Yeah.
So in the cookbook, because I also have a 17-year-old son, he's
Okay.
a junior.
Okay.
But what is your favorite recipe that maybe is your son's favorite?
Okay,
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
can share with me.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, this is the big old honkin' ham week that a lot of people are cooking this week because it was Easter. And so it's very economical to buy a big ham. It's really a cheap way to get protein, but nobody wants to eat ham on Monday, ham on Tuesday. So the book has different ways that you can use pieces of the ham. So this week of Big Ol' Honkin' Ham Week has two of my kids' favorite recipes. One of them is jambalaya, which you use. So the only protein you buy this week is the ham and a rotisserie chicken, or you can roast your own chicken if you want to. So just those are your two meats. And so the jambalaya has ham and chicken in it. And I give an option if you have some frozen shrimp in the freezer, you can add that if you kind of want, a combination of things. So jambalaya that's probably their thing that they ask for on their birthdays, probably. Or the other thing that's in this week that my kids love is eggs Benedict. And I'm sort of a evangelist for eggs Benedict in the family because it seems really special, but if you take a few shortcuts, it's not. The big shortcut that I have in here that I talk about is packaged hollandaise sauce. Do you all know that's a thing? I mean, I didn't know. Right, it's a thing. And so I have a friend who was trained at the Culinary Institute of America, a chef pal. She actually uses packaged hollandaise sauce, but here's the kicker. You squeeze a little bit of fresh lemon in it.
Okay, there's always a secret or a trick.
Right.
Okay.
And so, I mean, really all Eggs Benedict is you butter and toast some English muffins. You warm up a few slices from your ham. I use those silicone egg poaching cups in a pan of water. My daughter, who's a newlywed, she's invited some people over this weekend, and she just got out her griddle and just fried 6 eggs, where they're still a little runny. And so, and the little hollandaise sauce on top. So that's that's kind of a family, Sunday after church kind of thing. Breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be trying that. That
Yeah.
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. And we ordered that, and I have never thought to make that because
Wait, you ordered what?
Eggs Benedict
Oh,
places, and
right.
we've ordered that places,
Yeah.
and I've been intimidated.
It's
about making
you're
that,
gonna do it for dinner tonight.
Okay.
Do you have a ham? Did you say in your fridge?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
ham.
so all you need is, do you have eggs in your fridge?
Yes.
Okay, so you go to the grocery store and you get English muffins and
I have English muffins in my fridge too.
Okay, so
I think it's just that hollandaise sauce.
Yeah, and a lemon.
And a lemon, and I
Right.
have a lemon in there. But yes.
And get why don't you get some asparagus and roast that?
Okay.
Just put some olive oil on it, throw it in the oven, squeeze some lemon on your asparagus at the end too. Save a little squeeze of lemon.
Okay.
I mean, your family's gonna think, what is going on with Mom?
And I'll have you to thank for it.
Yay! I love it.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I have to ask you, because I've noticed some stuff on your cookbook about even a foreword that's on there.
Oh yeah, Pioneer Woman.
The Pioneer Woman, Ree Drummond. And so one of my questions is about your inspiration for writing the book. And I thought I'll just see if she maybe was an inspiration to you.
Of course. I mean, so Ree and I landed in Pawhuska. She's younger than I am. She's like 7 years younger than I am. And so we both married into families. The Drummond family and the Kane family have been friends for generations. Like, our children are the 5th generation of friends.
Wow.
So anyway, we married 2 Pawhuska guys, and so we just were kind of thrown together. What does Ree say? Something like we I don't know, we were just kind of predestined to at least be around each other, but we happen to love each other, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, in fact, I mentioned this on one of my shows in New York, but I don't think it's not widely known. But so we actually had a cookbook that we were sort of working on together. Oh, I don't know how long ago that would have been, like 15 years ago. Like our kids were little. It was before she'd started her blog or any of this. And we called it I'll Never Be Martha. It was the name of it. And we have a giant stack of rejection letters from agents. Nobody wanted it. And she, of course, went on to do her thing. And we both started homeschooling our daughters at the same time, and they were bride or maid of honor in each other's weddings, and that we started homeschooling them. Now Ree's better at like doing doing a whole bunch of things at once. Like I really had to kind of stay focused on homeschooling only. So I was just kind of actually, grinding away. I didn't realize I was creating fodder for a book, but I was. And so no, Ree really is my inspiration just everything she makes is so delicious. And it's, that if you see a Pioneer Woman recipe on the internet, it's going to be good. You don't have to, it's not one of those, oh, well, that was disappointing. It's always good. So yeah, she's just a great inspiration to me in so many ways, not just cooking. Yeah.
I love that. I was talking to somebody yesterday about building community and surrounding yourself with the right people.
Oh, amen.
Yeah. So I feel like you have that in each other.
Right.
Supporting each other.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I hope she has that in me, but yeah, for sure. She is.
She vice versa. So when you went on this cookbook tour and you were at Good Morning America, wasn't she your
she was
chef?
She was my sidekick. I got to boss her around a little bit. Ree, hand me that spoon. No, I'm kidding. But no, it was super fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I think that's so fun.
Right.
That's great.
No, and really just, I hate talking about myself. I know that's the format of this, but I mean, sharing passion and purpose. I mean, your mission. I mean, I think that really is, a lot of this was born out of my passion and purpose to get my family fed, and alongside me, Ree, having a community to help you launch an endeavor. It really does line up how this all happened. I mean, I'm grateful to be on your show because I think that your mission really is, my book reflects what your mission is. Like if you're really going to put something out in the world, it should be something that has a purpose and that you're passionate about.
I can feel that from you.
Oh,
I just
because I'm saying,
yes,
go buy some hollandaise sauce, clutching your hand, that sort of thing.
Yes, that but I can feel that you love what you're doing and sharing this with others.
Right.
Because this is a small investment to reap big rewards for people.
Right.
And we've talked about, budget, community, organization, time. There's so much that goes into this.
Right.
And honestly, I wished I would have thought of it. It's so smart. It's one of those things that is just really, really a smart idea to put out there for people. And and I couldn't have thought of it because I'm not the cook like you and I haven't been cooking.
I had a really sweet email from someone. She wrote me and she said, normally I check out a book from the library just to evaluate it in advance, and I'm definitely going to buy it. And she said I started to think to myself, she said, when I was younger, I used to think, oh, I could have written this. And she said, I just wanted you to know that I'm just grateful that you wrote it, that it was something that was sort of in my head to do, and I never got around to doing it. And now as a more mature person, I think to myself, I'm just glad that someone did it and I get to enjoy it. And I thought that is such a beautiful thing to say to someone. And kind of what you said earlier about what I hadn't really envisioned. You know, you kind of like your kids, you know, you kind of push them out into the world and you don't know how things are going to go and you don't envision how it's all the story's going to end. And it's a little bit like that with this book. Like, I hadn't envisioned the gratification of having real live people say, this is like, thank you. This is, I can't believe how this much easier my family meals are going. I just feel like I can do this. I feel just, it's not overwhelming to me. And so in some ways it makes it easy, because it's hard for me to be kind of self-promotional, like, hey, buy my book, you know, and I'm nearly 60 years old. So, you know, the whole social media thing is not second nature to me. You know, like, I kind of have to make myself get out there and do that sort of thing. And it just feels self-promotional, which is not really where I want to live. But when I get emails like that, you know, where I realize, you know what, you have something that's really helping people. And if it can help people, then talk about it, you know?
Well, and you said about you didn't envision what this could be, you know, after, and it is helping a lot of people, but it is so fun to have exposure on Good Morning America and these different shows. You're just like, about it.
I mean, you know,
I that's what I think would be fun, like the whole ride of it.
Yeah.
You're still on the whole ride.
Right. No, I'm not going to act like, oh, it's no big deal. I mean, it's enjoyable just from the standpoint of it's an experience that I wouldn't have had otherwise. You know, it's all going to end, and this is fleeting, and it's, you know, it's not shaping who I am. It's been fun and enjoyable, and I've met some really nice people, and you know, it's super fun. But I get to meet you. You know, I mean, so it's not. It's all, you know. It's just connecting with people and seeing if I can help them.
Yes. Okay. So my last little thing before I ask about what you're passionate about is I want to encourage you to unearth that book about. What is it? We're not Martha, or
I'll never be Martha.
I'll never be Martha.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I'm so glad you mentioned too, honestly, about getting all that stack of rejection letters.
Right.
Because maybe the timing was not right.
Right.
Or, you know, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But later on in your life, now you have had the time and the focus, and you know, have gone on to write a cookbook that was published. So I think people I've even written a book and had tons of rejection letters and, you know, that kind of thing. And this was years ago, Cyndi, but I self-published it anyway. And I went and sold it to schools and that kind of thing. It was for kids. And so that was really fun. But I can relate to that, getting, you know, 80 rejection letters. You know, I'm thinking that's when you were actually mailing stuff. Like, I was getting one in the mail, like a paper, because I'm 50. You know, I was getting one in the mail and opening the mailbox and seeing that stack. And yes. And so anyway.
Yeah. Now you can get those rejections really quickly via email.
That's right, Cyndi. Oh my gosh, that's right. So anyway.
Right.
But yeah. So, okay, now I do have my last little question is, what are you passionate about right now? I wrap up with that. I'm always curious.
You know, now it's really, as I said, it's just how to get the word out about this. And I hope it comes through word of mouth, you know, people using it and telling their friends. And to me, that's the most authentic way. And so just really, I guess I'm passionate about getting the word out about it in a way that's kind of authentic to me. So I have to figure out how to navigate the whole internet aspect of the promotional things. I mean, I'd much rather sit here one-on-one and talk to someone. I mean, to me, instead of an Instagram post. So I'm grateful that you invited me. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so, yeah, that's what I'm passionate about. And I have my 17-year-old that's getting ready to graduate. So, kind of helping him navigate those next steps to get him off to college and all of that. So, and then I don't know what's after that. I'm kind of a believer in, just kind of letting God direct your path, and opportunities sort of present themselves and you go, oh, okay, I guess I'll do that next. Okay. So I'm pretty open to whatever that might be.
Okay. I can't wait to see what it is.
Oh, thanks.
This is a great path to be on right now.
Oh, it is.
Awesome. So
I'm grateful.
check this book out because Save It for Word Suppers is a winner. So
Thank you so much, Nancy. You're a blessing and a joy.
Thank you. So are you.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap on this week's episode. I want to thank you for listening to the Sharing Passion and Purpose podcast. It means the world to me, and I'd love to connect with you. Please follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Sharing Passion and Purpose, and Twitter at Passion Sharing. Also, if you like this podcast, it would mean a lot to me for you to subscribe, rate, and review it. And as always, all my show notes will be available on my website, sharingpassionandpurpose.com.